Okay, the question comes from a Hong Kong diploma exam. It's for secondary education students. Um, where to see the question? I went to the website. You can click on this if you like and go to the website and look around. They got a bunch of files there, but I want to show you what the file looks like. So they give me example student responses, by the way. They give me two papers, right? So I can look through it. I can look at the questions. I can look at what the students say. It's this is paper one. They're given 2.25 hours to do it, and it's a long exam, by the way. All right, but anyway, they read the instructions. They put their numbers down. A lot of the questions are simple, though. I mean, they're really not difficult questions. Like, for example, this one, relatively simple. Next one's relatively simple. This one's a word problem. The students taking the exam, by the way, this is in Hong Kong. They're not native speakers of English. However, they're expected to answer their questions in English, right? So not only do they need to know the mathematics, but they need to understand the English language well enough to answer questions. They're certainly well-educated students once they're doing well in the exam. But a lot of the questions, I mean, they're really kind of straightforward. They're not overly bad. And this one over here, I'll type this one as well. Again, I kind of focus on this one's not so bad. However, as they start to move forward, they do get more detailed and more difficult. All right, geometry problems, very standard, by the way. Probability problems. Let's see, I guess more geometry problems over here. I think you get the idea. All right. However, some of the questions do require more work. All right. So I felt this question over here. Let me go back to the exam paper. That this one over here I felt was more work. All right. What do you mean by more work? Problem A, relatively simple to get through if you understand the problem, by the way. You don't understand nothing simple to get through if you don't understand it. But talk about geometric sequence. They talk about, figuring out something with the given information. B was a little more difficult for me. And what do I mean by more difficult? It took me time to articulate an argument and then to answer the question. All right. Now, the point of this video is not to go back over that. I did a separate video on that. My point here is to do some SAGE. All right. So I want to go to my instance of SAGE over here, and I'll kind of walk you through it. All right. Reset. Whoops. I have to do the reset, right? That clears out the memory, by the way. And then my claim is that beta, B-E-T-A, just labeling it, is 7 square root of 2. Now, where's this coming from? Well, I did my paper and pencil work, and I claimed that beta was 7 raised to the power square root of 2. And then what I do? I claimed that alpha was equal to 7. Let me go over that for you, show you where that's written down. I claimed that alpha was 7 raised to the power 2 minus the square root of 2. All right? Now, what I'm doing now is I want to check, right? Now, there's a couple things I could check. I'll do this over here, Boolean. Is alpha less than beta, right? So is alpha. Well, you know what? Let me approximate alpha. Let me approximate both beta and alpha. Oops. That's beta. Let me do alpha. Whoops. I'm so used to typing LaTeX that that's what I was doing there. Okay, so alpha, as claimed, should be less than beta. I'm seeing that, by the way. They're greater than 1, so that's good. But I want to get back to the geometric part. And I'm going to say G1. Let's go back to the notes, by the way. So alpha, beta, gamma. So I'm going to say G1 is alpha. I'm going to say G2 is 7. I'm just reading this right directly from the notes, by the way. And G3 is beta. I'm going to do Boolean. And I want to see if this works out. All right. Now what am I trying to work out? The common ratio, which can be G2 divided by G1, would be identical to G3 divided by G2. And that's true. So I got the geometric part done. Now let me do the arithmetic part. That's part B. And what do they got over there? A1. Now A1 is going to be the log of alpha base beta. That's how you type that into Sage. What's A2 going to be? A2 is going to be log of beta base 7. That's how you type that in. What's A3? A3 is log beta base alpha. All right? Now what I want to do is I want to do a Boolean. Whoops, Boolean. And I want to see if it's arithmetic. And what does that mean? The common differences would be the same. So that's going to be A2 minus A1 should be the same thing as A3 minus A2. And that's true. All right? Now, if you want to display these numbers, you can, and they should differ by 1, by the way. So let me just do that. Let me do A1, or I'm sorry, A2 minus A1. Well, it doesn't look right, does it? So let's approximate that. And we're getting what is expected, by the way. Now, if I do A3 minus A2, and that doesn't look right, I'm going to do the approximation now. And that's 1. Exactly what we're expecting, by the way. Now, granted, when people are taking these exams, they don't have time to reflect on this. They're really quick. And certainly, I prefer to type things up and have reflective thought about it. And I like to check my work using a computer, by the way. And why is that? I just want to see if if I'm doing okay over here. Now, granted, this did take time to get through, right? Some of the questions you can go through rapidly, but you can still make a mistake. At the end of these exams, though, students are sorted from the best to the worst, all right? The best students, I imagine some of these students are getting perfect or near perfect scores in these exams, and some of the worst students, even if they get to this level over here, are not doing very well in the exams. They're certainly going to answer some of the questions are really low-hanging fruit. But overall, there are discriminator questions, and I believe this question here is a discriminator question. What I mean by that, this takes some fortitude to get through, Part B. Now, Part A did not take fortitude to get through, but Part B does, all right? Now, there's other questions on the exam, which I'll get to, and I'll certainly mix these things up so you have a chance to look at other people's work. Thank you.